I've been doing this a very long time. I think to go into my background of 66 years is going to we're not going to have enough time for that. But what I will say is that I embarked in my mid-30s sort of on my own passion to make people happy. So I had, let's say, a tough childhood, let's say a rough 20s, born in a place in Detroit where there weren't any tracks to be on the south side of. Then one reason or another I became a lighting designer, and it was mostly because I was out of work. And I knew how to do lighting because I'd been doing it on the road for folks like Bonnie Raitt, who I still maintain a friendship with. And Bonnie kind of inspired me, and I thought, well, I could do this. So I started working on lighting for architecture, which was something people didn't do. Motivational lighting, inspirational forms of lighting, like what does that mean? Well, obviously, you know, somebody just wrote a book about the switch, right? So that kind of like went right to my heart because when you turn the lights on, you can see. And then we started working for folks like The Limited and Victoria's Secret, and it was about the lighting. The product was one thing, but to make it alluring, to make it seductive, is subliminal. It's not something you process out here, something that comes inside. So I became interested in understanding the visual experience and what an immersion experience might be. So I was fortunate enough to get hired by Disney. They felt they needed somebody that did what I did, so I went to work for Disney. And I showed them, in a way, how to make Mickey look more human. And, you know, it sounds funny, but I did. And it was inspiring for me to be with the Imagineers. I've always said I probably should have paid them to work for them. But it got me going on more than just lighting. It became, what was that park experience really doing? So it was just suspending your disbelief, right? It was going into this imaginative place in your mind. Well, the definition of an experience is actually something you remember. So you could see a whole bunch of stuff all day long, come home and say to your spouse, or your spouse would say to you, it's a famous song actually, "When the hell did you do today?" And Angel from Montgomery, in case you want to know. And you wouldn't be able to say, because you had no experience had come in, hadn't come in. So I began to try to figure out ways of making people talk to each other instead of like having some distance between them. And my background in music was really paying off. You know, I did music my whole life, recorded a bunch of records. So I thought, well, how did music inspire me? It actually saved my life. How did it inspire me? So then I began to add sound to the lighting. And I realized that the combination of sound and light was triple or more, manifold, of what just listening to something was, and just you know, viewing something. And the strange thing is, if you study some more about behavioral science or just kind of listen and then now take it from here, the people's memory on light is nowhere near as good as it is on music. So, you know, you go to see the Rolling Stones and say it was a great light show. I swear to you, if the Rolling Stones changed the soundtrack and did the same light show identically, you would only remember the songs and not the light show. You'd say, oh, it was another great light show, but it was the same one that had happened a week before. So I started studying that more and then using it. And then I started adding things like water features and other kinds of special effects. Well, the problem with that was you didn't have any digital controls. So when you have a stereo, you know, any of you have any multimedia systems, home kind of audio systems, what a pain in the ass they are. Because you got to turn this on, you got to use this clicker, and you got to use that thing, and you kind of have to like hit it. Maybe it'll work. So I developed a software company to do that, to take all these things, all these elements, all the special effects, park-wide, and control them all from a computer. And then we got sort of wireless, and then we started controlling them all from a laptop, from an iPad, or some Google device. And I'm really a Luddite. But then I began to realize that this urban core, and my son Ben is in the audience here, he's going to talk with me tomorrow, and we're going to see a little video. I began to realize that my own town of Detroit had sort of been massacred by technology, notwithstanding the massacre of the 67 and 68 riots, but the massacre of all forms of technology, rock and roll, all these things all put together, people didn't come out of their houses. People didn't want to come out to begin with if they didn't feel that comfortable. But man, add a big screen TV and a big stereo system and portable devices that you have, and you could get everything you wanted without having to drive downtown. There'd be a football game or a baseball game downtown. People would go there, park in a safe place, they thought, get right back in their car, head out to the suburbs. So like here, you have all of your entertainment in Las Vegas a mile away. You know, the big show is a mile away. And a lot of people don't come down here because they don't feel that this is the comfortable environment they want to be in. And that same lack of comfort, lack of safety was bothering me. So then we started creating architectural stuff like you see here. And a lot of these projects are in Europe. Some of them are here in America, where we started working with architects to make parks also be retail, also be cinemas, also be. I figured, why should I take the same soup that we've been eating? Why couldn't we make a different soup? You heard the lecture about change today, which was very powerful. It was a great lecture. And this is sort of the same thing. I got people to accept this because they had seen all of the pieces. They just hadn't seen them all in one spot. So these projects here are Barcelona. I don't know, we get about 5,000 to 10,000 people here a day, like on Tuesday or Wednesday. The place doesn't close till 3, 4 in the morning. And I don't have a laser thing here, I don't think, but automated water features, sound and light shows, live stages. And then the thing was, how do you make this a kid's environment? So we made every one of the features, footpads and push things and beaded here. So all of these fabulous special effects you used to see in the Disney parks are now accessible sort of in your hometown. And you could sort of, because it was all electronic and I monitor it back in Detroit to make sure everything's working right, you could have only a time when the big water feature, like during the day, 10 to 4, let's say, 10 to 5, those water features were accessible on the footpads, and kids started to dance, and there's music, so they'd be dancing and the water be doing their thing. 5 o'clock it shuts off because the crowd is changing. And that's what you have to think about when you're thinking about urban design. You have to think about, you got the workers coming in, and then maybe you have mom's going to shop, dad's going to shop. We have a different world now where dads stay home and they go shopping and they take care of the kids. What happens on Monday is not what happens on Friday. It definitely isn't what happens on Sunday. So as a music guy, we would program music soundtracks Monday through Sunday that would be experiences. So people in Detroit, by example, or anywhere in the world, because we have music historians working with us, if we knew that older people were coming out on Sundays, we would program essentially Spanish folk music on these Spanish projects. And as lively and contemporary as those things seem, and they are, this one's Madrid and Valencia, all of this is moving to music. So anyway, like I was going to say, we would have the senior sort of like folk music, Spanish folk music, fado. Is it called fado, Ben? That people would come and they would hear tracks. They don't carry iPhones. They don't carry Google devices where they can go figure out who the old song they want to hear. So we would do the research for them and make them feel at home by coming and listening to this. And then all of these places that we do have live entertainment features. So instead of all of it being canned, it's every one of these projects all over the world that we do have places for performers to plug in, to connect to an audio system, to have a spotlight on them. So all of a sudden it becomes a world stage. That's what downtown planning, I believe, is all about. It's about making a flexible environment with technology. So a lot of the experience that we're talking about tonight has been about the virtual environment. Click on this. I've got a computer screen. And I'm here to tell you that the urban experience is taking what you're doing now in the virtual environment, I'm doing okay on time, in the virtual environment, and making people experience. How many movies have we seen where people walk into the, Woody Allen walked out in Purple Rose of Cairo. I think he walked out of the screen. And we want people to walk in at virtual games and things like that. We can create those same experiences, but far, far more experience-based, takeaway-based, if we do it in the urban core. So I'll show you a couple more pictures. Same kind of thing, but in reverse. That's creating history with technology. That's Henry Ford. On the right is Henry Ford's first factory. But this whole place is all fiber optic and wireless. It is complete multimedia. And nobody would ever know it. So media has the luxury of being transparent. So you can have a visceral, real, and feel like you're really inside of something. And then, I can add bird sounds and little things that make it even more realistic. But then you can do entertainment like 4th of July or whatever. Instead of having speakers laid out and cords laid out all over the place, you can build it in, which allows you to still believe you're in like the real old world. This is Wembley. Everything's on the move here. It's all kinetic. Branson Landing. Everything's changing colors, music in the streets. That's the Detroit waterfront. This is a new product it's the only product I've ever done that really came out of the depths of 9/11, when we decided to take all this media stuff and make it for safety, security, and entertainment. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. And all of this stuff, like whole towns, like we just did Lansing, our capital, they're all controlled off this iPad or some other virtual device. This is Las Vegas City Hall, which also has a multimedia system in it. This is Navy Pier in Chicago. That's goodbye. And can we play Ben's? Now, what I've done is all built environment. And what Ben, are we going to be able to cue Ben's video? Okay. So what Ben has done, he's a little shy, he does 18 real concerts, live concerts in New Orleans. And that's grassroots. That's bringing people together on the dirt with all of the people from the Treme and all the great entertainers for free. 18 concerts a year. It has bound this diverse community together in a way that takes my breath away. So let's play Ben's video. Right, but you want to show this.
Jazz in the Park Season 4. This is the last one. Happy Halloween of 2013. And it is Halloween. And we have Kermit Ruffins has been on, and we have Rebirth Brass Band coming on. I have the wonderful and distinct pleasure of speaking with Mr. Phil Frazier of Rebirth Brass Band right now. How you doing, Phil?
Pretty good yourself.
I'm doing really well. Actually, we were just talking about this. Where have you guys been recently when you've been out on tour?
Well, it was a year like for a week. Then we came back home to the mid South tour. It was Brazil. They came into Old Orleans. Actually, went to another CD with Big Street Records, beautiful record company. We got a lot of original songs on there. And my he was thinking about doing Do You Want to Get, which time Southern University, War Perry Walk, and do some music, something different. Nobody never did it before. And record, yeah. Here was you about called right here in Armstrong Park. Try to put it together by your class.
Oh my God, you have a combo.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Phil. And again, one more time, what do you think of Jazz in the Park?
Yes, I love it. Can't help. Jazz in the Park's a great thing. Need to keep it going though, please.
Thank you so much, Phil. It's such a pleasure talking with you. Can't wait to do you
All
tonight.
right, thank you. All right. Peace.
Phil Frazier and Jazz in the Park.
There you have it. Thank you all very much.